A lot of them were wondering if this land is still made for you and me. Why, yes it is. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. We got a fella in the White House now, shouldn't really be there. He didn't win the popular vote. He's got crazy hair. Came in like a hurricane, doing a lot of bad and crazy things. So it's time for us to stand up and resist. This land is your land. This land is my land. This land of California to New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. Tom's going to give Lois back the microphone now, and I'm going to put on a clever disguise so none of you will realize I'm also the speaker.
He was just the entertainer there for a while.
Not much of a disguise. Ties and glasses. But it worked for Clark Kent.
All right. How's the level? Good? Can you hear me in the back? All right, great. Thank you. Couple of pieces of housekeeping. One is that there is a camera running video up in this corner. It will not be seeing any of you. It's recording us here on stage. So don't worry about being videoed. Barbara Neiden, wearing the blue shirt and waving her camera back here, would like to take group pictures. And so if you, and we'll be posting them on Facebook, we'll also be sending them to Indivisible and to Missouri Healthcare for All to be amplified across the country. So if you have concerns about your privacy, don't want to have your picture on Facebook in a crowd, let me wave, do something. When you see Barbara, go, whoa, wait a minute, and get out of the way. And then go back to your seat, that'll be good. Bathrooms, as you probably know, were just inside when you first turn into the hallway. And feel free to get up and take care of yourself if you need to. We are going to have a collection for the expenses of putting this meeting together. As I will say probably 50 times, we are an independent group. We are self-funded. That means the 5 of us are funding it. So if you can help out with expenses, we're also going to share that collection with Winston for his Government by the People group. All right. So we formed this group, Stand and Resist, as an independent, peaceful, persistent organization of people who want to take action, who aren't ready to sit down and let whatever happens happen and hope it doesn't come to the Ozarks. Surprise, it's already here. So that's what we're about. We are not about violent action. We are not about we are about trying to get people excited. We're particularly about trying to get our legislators excited and noticing that not all the voters in this area are supporting the activities that they're putting forth. So that we are about getting people excited, I would say. That's fair. But we're polite and we're respectful and kind, and that's just who we are as a people, I think. So that's the values that we represent. Any questions about stand and resist that you're just like dying to know that we haven't answered? Okay. Then I'm ready to introduce Winston, who's going to talk to us about how to rest good from this time of unrest and chaos.
Thank you. Before I get started, I would like to set the tone for my presentation by asking you to recite something along with me that you're probably vaguely familiar with, but it doesn't get the same sort of coverage as the Pledge of Allegiance, the National Anthem, Star-Spangled Banner, and I think it should. It's some of the best political writing that's ever been done, and so with no disrespect to those other fine ways to get a meeting started, if you don't mind, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among people, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that people are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Of course, that's from the Declaration of Independence. The rest of it's just a long list of complaints. We had almost as many complaints about King George back then as we do about a certain guy now. I think his list may eventually surpass King George. But we are in troubled times. There are abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object. They are evincing a design to reduce us under absolute despotism. That is, of course, the White House pictured there with the danger zone warning in front. And we must resist and persist in resisting. At the same time, while we work diligently, faithfully, in a spirit of unity and compassion to exercise our right and fulfill our duty to alter our form of government, we need to do the hard work of figuring out what is wrong with our electoral system and then fix it. We must address the flaws that have become painfully, glaringly apparent. Now, at this point, I don't want to take away any of the stand and resist part of this meeting, but I want you to think about a very, very short book, The Wit and Wisdom of Chris Christie. This is the whole book. This is it. One quote. He was, after disparaging the ideas of progressives and liberals and college professors and activists, he said to his fellow Republicans, "We have our ideas too. And if we want," and this is advice that I think we have to take as well, ignore the source. If we want our ideas to matter, we have to win elections. Because if we don't win, we don't govern. And if we don't govern, all we do is shout into the wind. Now, Tom and I sing into the wind. It's a great deal more fun, equally ineffective a lot of the time. You can write a lot of letters, you can have a lot of marches and rallies, And a lot of people that are in Congress or in Jeff City are not going to change their position because they're getting big checks that come with strings attached. And until we convince them that that won't work anymore, they're going to keep on doing that. There's a quote from a young man by the name of Aristotle I came across a couple years ago. Rough translation, his English was not very good. A politician once elected behaves as if they have a terminal illness, and staying in office is all that will keep them alive. Now, right now, the majority of people, mostly Republicans, but not all, there are people in both parties who think they need big checks from above, from Wall Street, big banks and corporations, in order to get elected and re-elected and re-elected and re-elected. And that's not healthy for our democracy. I taught government and economics for 21 years. I'm a lifelong student of history and government. And 3 days after I lost my first election by 21 votes, when 300 to 400 Republicans showed up to vote for my Democratic opponent, something we'd been warned about a month before, that they'd rather run against him and win than risk losing to me, I thought up the idea of proportional representation from my teaching days. So I want to start with this. There's more people here today than there would have been on November 7th. A great many people woke up during last year's election, and particularly the late night hours of November 8th and the early morning hours of November 9th. I'm guessing nearly everyone in this room felt the earth moving beneath their feet. In the first Democratic debate last year, Jim Webb turned to Bernie Sanders, who was leading a pretty good grassroots movement at the time, and talking about political revolution. And Jim Webb said to Bernie, "There's not going to be a political revolution." After it became obvious that Bernie was not going to get the Democratic nomination, Jill Stein put some serious moves on Bernie's supporters to try to get them into the Green Party. A lot of people went. And her biggest argument was that you could not have a political revolution within either one of the two major parties, because they were both, the Democrats and the Republicans, counter-revolutionary parties.